So let's learn more about bat roosts, cave ecology, and Bracken Bat Cave. Fran, what can you tell us about this very special place?
Well, Bracken Bat Cave, again, is the home to the largest colony of bats in the world. So the millions of Mexican free-tailed bats that we have here migrate from Mexico to Central Texas in March of every year. These female bats are using this roost as a maternity colony, and they come here to have their babies and raise them here in Central Texas. They're here throughout the whole summer, and then when November rolls around, it starts cooling off, and they'll migrate back to Mexico where it's warmer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great. And so I think we've got some thermal video that we can actually see what it's like down in the cave.
Right. Yeah. Actually, and we've got the we've got, this is the thermal.
There,
we use a thermal camera to take video of the cave. So when you're looking at this video, the white and yellow is the hottest part of the cave. So you can see the walls of the cave where the bats are roosting is very hot. It's actually 103 degrees in this image. And since the bats are flying around, they're actually cooler than the walls of the cave. So they show up as a darker image as they circulate there in front of the cave and inside the cave. So you can see the millions and millions of bats flying around, and you can see how warm it is. It's very hot in that cave, so this makes it a great place to raise baby bats. Because when the babies are first born, they're hairless. So 102 to 104 degree temperature cave is a great place to hang out if you're a baby bat, and you can stay nice and warm. Now we also have a 2D drawing of the cave so you can get an idea what it looks like. The cave itself, here it is. Okay, now we have a 2D drawing. So we're standing up on the lip of the sinkhole, and the cave itself, the mouth of the cave is down at the bottom of an 80-foot deep sinkhole. So you can see that in this image, and it stretches 650 feet away from us. Down inside the cave at the floor, it's 100 feet wide, and floor to ceiling heights are from 100 to 117 feet. So we have these two large cavernous rooms that the bats are roosting in, and they're roosting on the ceiling all the way down on the side of the walls. So we have anywhere from 250 to 500 bats per square foot throughout the cave. So there are lots and lots of bats in the cave in this big or enormous space underground.
Oh, my goodness. And Fran, how was the cave formed?
Well, millions of years ago, we had underground streams flowing through this area, and they eroded and dissolved away the limestone, which is all the rock that you see here is limestone. And those underground streams, as they eroded and dissolved away that limestone, created an underground space. And then the water table would drop, and we would dissolve away more of that limestone. In some areas, you would get collapses of one space into another, and that formed these large cavernous spaces that we can see in the video. And then the cave is part of the Aquifer recharge zone. So you have water trickling down when it rains through the rock, and it eventually weakened the ceiling of the cave, and it collapsed. And when it collapsed, all that rock fell into the cave and exposed the cave to the surface. We don't know when. That happened around 10,000 years ago, but sometime after that, we're not sure when, the bats moved in and started calling Bracken home.
And I know that Bracken Bat Cave is important for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is just the visitors that come to see this place and other bat viewing areas.
Right. Bracken is such an important natural resource that Bat Conservation International actually has educational tours from our members and other organizations that can come out. And you can go to our website to get that type of information. We have lots of information about the educational tours at our website, batcon.org. And we have tours throughout the summer, and visitors get the chance to come out here and witness the spectacular bat emergence every night. So that's one of the roosts. We also have other roosts in the area. We have the Congress Avenue Bridge in Austin, which is one of the largest urban colonies of bats in the world, just in right downtown Austin, and thousands and thousands of people a night go and sit in the lawn there and watch the bats come out from underneath the bridge in Austin. And we have other bat roosts. Texas Parks and Wildlife has some roosts at Old Tunnel, which is an old abandoned railroad tunnel that the bats are roosting in. There's Devil's Sinkhole out in West Texas near Rock Springs, which is another Parks and Wildlife property, and the bats are roosting there. So you have lots and lots of bat roosts in this area. And then, of course, you have Carlsbad Caverns out in New Mexico and Mammoth Cave, so there are lots of bat roosts. You can go to BCI's website and put in the area, and we've got information about bat tours all over the world, but here in the United States you can find out where you can go to see bat flights.
Oh, that's great. So no matter where you are, you may be able to get
Right.
to see, maybe not something quite on this scale, but get to see bats.
Right.
That's really exciting. Now, I also understand, now one of the things that, you know, folks watching just can't quite experience, we should have smell-o-vision.
Yes.
That, that we can tell there's bats here because there's quite a pungent aroma of ammonia coming up. And I understand that that folks in the past have actually used bat caves as a resource. What did they do?
Right. It's starting in the mid-1800s, the owners of the land would mine the guano as a fertilizer. It's a very high nitrate fertilizer, so starting in the mid-1800s, they would go into the cave. Since these bats are migratory, they could leave when they left the cave in November, the miners could go in and safely harvest the guano from the cave and not disturb the bats. So they would bag the guano out and haul it up out of here, which was a lot of work to carry bags of guano up out of this sinkhole throughout the winter months. So they would bag it and haul it, put it on trains and ship it down to the port of Houston, and they would ship it all over the world as a fertilizer. And then they figured out that since it's high in nitrates, they also could use it in gunpowder production. So during the Civil War and World War I, they would harvest the guano and use it in gunpowder production here in Central Texas. So it's been a very valuable resource here in Texas for a number of years.
And do they still mine guano here?
No, we stopped mining the guano about four years ago.
Okay.
Yes. But we don't mine it anymore. But we still have anywhere, depending on where you're standing in the cave, the guano can be anywhere from 30 to 60 feet deep. So there's lots and lots of guano on the floor of the cave.
Oh, just amazing, just amazing. Well, thanks so much, Fran. Bracken Bat Cave is truly an amazing place, and it has such an interesting history